What's going on, everybody? Andy and Steve from WagerTalk.com. We are going to go over the first of what is hopefully a daily update on our road to millions. We're going to go over plays, but more importantly, we're going to go over how to take a small bankroll and turn it into a big one by just doing a few things. So we'll wait for more people to come in and we'll get going on this. Feel free to ask any questions. Feel free to leave any comments. Tell us what's been working for you, what hasn't been working for you, and then we'll definitely go over some of the ins and outs. If you haven't seen the original Road to Millions video, it's on this YouTube channel. So just go there and take a look at that. It's always going to be up there. So a nice little refresher there. So Steve, before we get into updates and all that, you want to just kind of recap what the last, I don't know, week or so has been like for us? Because we started off the year great. Regression came, and then just the last week, it's been awesome.
Yeah, we're picking up steam in the NBA. Like with some great categories. We're utilizing the rebounds plus assist category, the PRA category for some unders. We've had some success with some team totals as well in the NBA. Um, MLB, we're like kind of so right now, kind of middle of the pack, but we're focusing on fading some of these poor teams in the league. There's a ton of them, a handful of them that are really bad that you can fade on almost a nightly basis. Just kind
Oh
of
yeah,
figuring out the best ways to go about it, whether it be
now
team
you're talking.
totals.
Now you're talking my
Run,
language.
yeah, 100%. I know that's what we had success with 2 years ago. We had a big season in the MLB 2 years ago. That was our first year together, and we're looking to get back to that in the MLB. So
Yeah.
that's been working out. For in the MLB, fading these poor teams has been our bread and butters for the most part.
So, uh, awesome is putting it lightly. Yeah. Um, yeah. You've made your 3% and then some. So,
Yeah, for
um,
sure.
thanks for joining us, Jim. So, all right, we can jump right into it and get going here. Let me do my share screen here. This could be a little clunky for the first few of these because we really
We'll
don't
get
have
there.
like,
We'll get there.
I I kind of know what I want to do, but I'm not 100% dialed in on this. We'll figure it out. So basically, what we're doing is we are trying to make 3% of our bankroll a week. That's the goal. If there's one thing that we just keep hammering and hammering and hammering in everyone's head is to just make 3% a week. If you think about it big picture, it sounds like a lot, but if you just go bet by bet and play by play, it's actually not that much. So we tell this: if you start with $4,000 and you make 3% a week, and you don't pull the money out in 6 years, you'll have $26 million. So it's the power of compound interest. It takes a ton of discipline that you got to be paying attention all day, every day. So um, I guess we can start with what's happened just with my bankroll and our bankroll. We did start with $4,000 last February 1st, and we're creeping around the $30,000 mark. We did get over 30,000, and then we dropped back a few weeks ago, and we had a bad weekend. But we're almost back to that, and we are ahead of schedule. I have that spreadsheet that a lot of you have been asking about and are using, hopefully. So I have that, and you can see we broke it down like per week, like what do you need to be at each week, and all the way down through 6 years. So we're ahead of schedule. Um, we had a lot of clunky weeks when it was kind of fumbling around and not totally understanding the strategy, but it's definitely gotten a lot more dialed in. So um, the premise of this is just pick a day of the week that you want to start with, and if it's Monday, then just say between this Monday and next Monday, I got to make 3%. You can do it with one bet, you can do it with a ton of bets, but that's the goal. So Steve, if first day was Monday, we now are we had one play last night. It was a 5% play.
Yep.
And it
2
was
units ahead of schedule.
well, and so that's the thing. Like, so technically, if you really wanted to, you could just be done for a while, and you could say, I got my 5%. So I got this week taken care of, and I got 2/3 of next week already taken care of. So I guess first off, let's talk about just that play and how we just stuck to one play and how it was a prop where we were coming off of a loss and why we made it a 5% play. So do you want to talk about just why we made that play 5%?
Yeah, it was Devin Booker over PRA. We had been riding him for probably the last 4 or 5 games of the last series, and he had went under in the game prior. But if you look at it, you got to look at why he went under. He went under. He only took 1 3-pointer. That wasn't going to happen again. Durant went off. You know what I mean? And that's not guaranteed to happen again as well. It was also a blowout, and he didn't play the final 5 minutes. And he only fell 3 PRA short, missing a 3-pointer right before he got pulled at about the 5 minute mark. We assumed it wouldn't be a blowout again, and he's not going to miss those 5 minutes. So all these things going right, he takes a couple more 3-pointers. Durant scores a little bit less, and he's going to go right back over again. We weren't afraid to take the loss, and it's not about going undefeated on these streaks. We always say 7 of 10, 8 of 10. That's the goal. So, and it worked out with Booker for us last night.
Yeah, so I don't know what you guys how your guys' plays are, so I just kind of use ours as an example. So for me, we already made our quota for the week. So I'm going to take a very very low volume approach for the next few days. I'm probably going to sit out our plays tonight, even though I like them. And sometimes that costs. Sometimes you miss out on profits by doing that, but it just goes back to just sticking to the 3%. So I will say part of this is tracking your plays and seeing what's hitting and seeing what's not hitting. I can't stress that enough. That if you know what's hitting, and more importantly, if you know what's not hitting, you just get rid of what's not hitting. It's so crucial. So I know because we track all of our plays at Wager Talk. I know that our 4% and 5% plays, when we find a play that we think is 4% or 5% worthy, I know we're almost at 60% on those plays, and I know we're up 48 units just
Yeah.
for the year. So I know that that's almost going to get me 3% a week. So when I'm looking at our plays, what's working so far this year is just these 4 and 5% plays. We don't have them all the time, but there's probably going to be 1 or 2 a week, and that seems to do all of it. So I'm looking at those, and then I'm using the rest of our plays to kind of fill in the gaps. So if you look at our percentage on the plays on Wager Talk, you don't have to follow the percentages exactly. I recommend it. I ask you to do it, but I don't know what you're playing outside of our plays. So if you're having a great week, you do not have to push with a bunch of extra plays. In fact, quite the opposite. I would say you need to like like settle down on them. So um I get we were talking about baseball, and I guess baseball is a good place to start because if we're looking at the sports that we got coming up, you guys know me, love my golf. I am going to be playing my golf plays, of course. If we got a Formula One race this weekend, I am going to be playing my Formula One plays because those play really good. But Steve, NBA is winding down and NHL is winding down, so we're looking ahead to baseball. So, like, I don't know. Do we keep doing what we're doing with baseball? And I guess the thing about baseball is it's such a grind. How do we use this? Because man, I feel like baseball is just like 9 months of just like grinding, 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 grinding every day, and then at the end of the year, if you're up a little bit, great. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of baseball sometimes.
I mean, it is a grind, but it's a sport that, you can make some good profits on because it's played daily, obviously, unlike a lot of other sports. So with the MLB, like we said, we're fading some of these poor teams, and I think we might start looking at maybe some of these team totals. We've also had success with some total base props at points and pitcher props at points. Like last season, we had some good success with pitcher outs, taking the unders on some of those. You find a team that hits a pitcher well, a good offense, and you hope they chase him out of there early. That was a spot we had some success with. So as the season goes on, I'm assuming when the other sports, when NBA and NHL, aren't the focus, will be expanding MLB a little bit. I'm assuming.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna have to use MLB, throughout the summer to kind of get there. I do love that we do have golf and we have the Formula One and we have UFC because we can use those plays a lot. We're doing great in UFC. We're doing great in Formula One. We're doing golf. That doesn't mean that there aren't other sports that you guys can do this, but I think one of the biggest things that I don't want to say that we just like you and me, well, obviously you and I struggle with, but everybody struggles with is how do you know when you got a effing losing streak coming up? This is the bane of my existence, Steve. I would say the best way to make money is to just not lose it. And so
Yeah.
I feel like in a situation like where we are with this week when we're up 5%. I don't know. Do we push? Do we push or
Well, that's when I think that we've at point, like, we still have plays, but we scaled the units back a little bit just so that if because every night we have plays we like, obviously, you know what I mean? On a nightly basis, there's plays you like. You got to find the ones you love to put those high percentages on. And you see that's why our 4 and 5% plays, I think it was 65%, if I'm not mistaken, pretty close to that, if not. And but what you can do when you have plays that you like is scale the units down a little bit, especially on some of these ones with the higher juice. We've even gone down to just 1%. Just you try to get the win, but if you take the L, you're not losing 3 units on a unit play. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that has ended up being like really, really important for us is lowering the amount of units because we were looking at these daily sports like NHL and NBA and MLB. I think that's going to be the focus and the way that we're going to attack these plays like moving forward. Like we were watching and we were like, okay, we got these other sports that we have on the weekends, and UFC and MMA does well for us. But let's be honest, we only have like one, sometimes 2 plays on a Saturday, and that means we only have 2 for the week. And so then you're looking at something like NBA, and it's like, well, we could have 2 or 3 a night in those. So why do we have the same amount of percentages on these plays for these daily sports? I think that's how I'm going to use the daily sports moving forward is 1%, 2% to try and chip away at little increments here or there. And if I see that they're not going well for a certain week, I can just take off. But at the same time, you're just not going to get smoked. But if you're playing,
100%,
if you're playing 3% and 4% every single night, and you have a bad week, your bankroll is just absolutely crushed.
Yeah.
So, I guess I will tell you for this week, 5% play that cashed last night. I'm feeling good. I know that I'm going to play golf, Formula One, and MMA. Those are absolutely going to be sure. I probably will play them a little bit less than I normally do, just because I'm going to take a cautious approach. That being said, I feel great about the golf tournament this week. I feel great about the Formula One race, and I feel great about the UFC event. So I would say I'm probably going to play those just a little bit less than the percentage that we put out on Wager Talk, and I am more of a I'm more of a cautious bettor. I'm much more low volume with the plays than most others. So I'll go days without having plays if we hit that one. So yeah, go ahead.
Well, the low volume has been successful for us, and it just limits your exposure is all I was going to say. It's just obvious in a sense, but it's not. It's like you said, sometimes the best way to make money is to not lose it. So you have a ton of plays, and just the juice just eats you to death when you lose. So you gotta find your spots, take your spots there, but tail it back a little bit once you're up a little bit for the week.
Yeah. I guess here, I'll pull up our spreadsheet so everyone can see kind of where we're at. Someone brought up how many sports books do you have to have in order to do this? When you're starting out, you don't need very many, but you're going to have a lot. Like you're going to have a ton. You're just gonna have to keep adding them and adding them and adding them. There are sports books that have different plays. I'm in a state where we have DraftKings and FanDuel and BetMGM, so I'm at a big advantage for that. If you're not in a state, that has those. It's obviously a lot harder to do that. But I have tons of offshores. I have all the domestics. I mean, I'm close to 20 different books, and the way that I do it is I just kind of split up the plays into smaller amounts. So if you're, I'm not betting $1,000 on one book if I can play it across a bunch of different ones. I'm going to try and bet it for $100 across, 10 to try and take some of the try and stay off the radar of the book.
Yeah, 100%.
So I have been limited. On a couple of them. I know other people that have been limited on them as well, but you just keep kind of, I don't know, you just keep plugging away on that. So let me pull up the numbers that we have on our, I don't know if people can see this. Let's see. That's not too bad. So on this sheet that we track, you can see here just like when we started, we started here with 4,000, and then on this spreadsheet, this column right here is what you're supposed to be at if you add 3% a week. And the biggest thing is you're just not taking any money out. That's the biggest thing. You just got to leave it. Don't take money out to purchase plays. Don't take money out to buy something. Don't take money out if you had an awesome weekend. You just have to leave all the money in. So I can track and see, like, are we ahead of schedule? Are we not ahead of schedule? We have kind of been ahead of schedule from the very beginning. We started off really hot. So we've been like literally playing with house money. So you see here for us back on March 2nd, we just crossed over to 30,000. And then we regressed down to 29 and then to 27. We had one weekend that was terrible. I think we lost 5% plays, which really sucked. But weathered the storm, rebounded nicely. So we're at 28,397 for our bankroll right now. And if you look over here, if we're on pace exactly, we're at 25,752. So really happy with being ahead of schedule here. So for this week, the first week of May, I already know that we just added our weekly, allotment of units. So I know we're going to be ahead of schedule on this one. I do worry a little bit because we had such a hot 5 to 7 days, but I just am really confident in the sports that we got right now. So I think I'm going to keep firing away and see if we can have one of those monster weeks. But I will tell you, if I do have a big monster week next week, not going to be playing a whole lot because there's no way we will continue hitting at like 80% or whatever. So I guess, Steve, what do we have tonight? NHL is winding down. You and I, we were all over NHL last year, and you and I were talking before we went live. There's just not a lot of NHL in this round.
Yeah, it's been tough. We did incredibly last year with shots on goal props, and we've continued to do those, and we've done okay with them. These next series, I'm kind of looking at game one to see what happens in these. And we have 4 game ones in the next 2 nights, so I'm going to be looking at those games, watching those games, see what happens. And for going forward, we've also had some success with point totals for players, different players. We had a nice run with Draisaitl there for a little while. He could be a guy we might look towards again. If that's a guy you guys might want to look towards. We had a great run with him towards the end of the regular season, and you've actually had some good success too with those some of those parlays. You know what I mean? The team total parlays, those have worked out pretty well at points. So
yeah,
might look at those again.
This is a new thing for us this year, is the parlays and how awesome they've been. On our website, WagersHog, we're number 1, and we're up damn near 50 units on these parlays. They're just working, which kind of goes against what the industry thinks, isn't it?
Yeah, with parlays. When we say parlays, we're not looking at high risk parlays. We don't do those. We're looking at
you're right.
Getting the juice down. Yeah, no, I know. I'm just saying we're looking at getting the juice down to close to manageable, like typical type of juice. But what we've been able to do is do some of these parlays with these team totals, and some of these teams have only needed to score 2 goals. One goal. One night we needed only a 1 goal out of Winnipeg, and that was part of a parlay. So, like we said, we don't want to. When we say parlays, we're not looking at plus 1500s and long shots, because those will just eat you alive. We're looking at finding some angles that we can combine together that are nothing's a sure thing, but something close to a sure thing. You put those together, you get some nice manageable under 150 or so juice, and those have worked out pretty well.
We, I mean, just to really add to what people would tell us we're crazy for doing, is we're actually parlaying same game parlays. like we're taking a same game parlay in one game, and then we're taking a same game parlay in another one, and then we're just parlaying those together. So it's like 3 parlays into one play, which pretty much breaks all the rules. But they've been working. Our multi-sport parlays have been fantastic.
Yeah, those have been great, actually, where we can
fantastic.
Where we've like combined efforts, where someone that does one sport will say, I got a negative 400 here, but it's close to a sure thing. I just need a parlay piece or two to add to it. And then someone else from the team comes along and says, I have this one in this sport, we could add to it. And, those have worked out great, combining our efforts together.
Yeah. So what we're trying to do with parlays is we're just trying to get close to even money on the payout, or, minus 150 or better. So these are not like 10 teamers, that you're throwing $10 on, hoping to make, 300 on. These are like I just put one up in golf. 3 golfers to make the cut. It came out to minus 129. That's the kind of price that we're looking for to do parlays. We do this in UFC all the time. We'll take a couple of big favorites in UFC to put them together. We don't do a ton of them, but we're doing way more than probably most in the industry. We're doing more than most in the industry, but we're doing way less than the average Joe, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. So, yeah, so tonight is just going to be a pretty chill night because we had the big win last night. So I would recommend right now, if you're following our plays, I would recommend gearing up for the weekend. We'll do that. We're going to do a 3-day pass on Friday on Wager Talk, because I think we have a huge weekend of plays coming. We've got UFC, we got Formula One. If you want to jump on board now, you can wait until tomorrow. Golf plays will be up. We will have the other thing about NBA tonight is we have a game 1 with Golden State, and that one's kind of a wait and see approach as well. Like we have a small play in that one, but it's certainly nothing close to a 5% play, because we kind of want to see what's going on in that. So I would recommend waiting till Friday and getting the 3-day pass special that we're going to put out there. We will have NBA and NHL, and we'll have all those other sports. And I think that's going to be a great way to get to that, to add to that 3%. So let's see. Anything else we need to add for today, Steve? You want to give him a free play while we're here?
Yeah, sure. I got one I could.
Okay.
Yeah, I was looking at Bo Bichette tonight for his total bases over 1.5. I saw it at around negative 130. The juice might have went up a little bit, but he's 3 for 6 against Tanner Houck, the Red Sox starter, and he's just a killer at Fenway Park. So he's batting 375. I looked it up. 375 in his career at Fenway. 6 home runs, 7 doubles.
Wow.
In 96 at bats. He's on fire too. He went 5 for 5 last night. And another thing I like to do with these guys is he's batting second and he's on the road. So that's going to maximize his at-bats. You might get an extra at-bat out of him tonight because of that. That's something I really like to do with the total base props is, guys at the top of the order obviously see a lot of at-bats. On the road, you're guaranteed to have 9 full innings of at-bats. I mean, other than George Springer, he's going to have, the most chances at bats out of anyone in the game. And like I said, he's just a killer at Fenway, and 5 for 5 last night. So I would look towards him tonight for a nice little hitter prop on his over for 1.5 total bases.
That's a good one. That's a real good one.
He's hot too. 5 for 5 last night. So
yeah. All right. So we're gonna get out of here. We are gonna do this every day. We're just gonna keep talking about making this 3% a week and building that bankroll. It's not easy until you really get in the flow of it and realize that, oh, all I need to do is stop doing some of these things, and my bankroll will go up quite a bit. But the biggest thing takeaway, guys, is you just got to make your 3% a week. Once you get there, play it cautious. Don't give it all away. Don't overexpose yourself. Don't go too crazy on these. If you feel like you're having a bad week and you're losing a little bit, then just pull back. If you feel like you're having a good week, try and maximize it without going too crazy on it. But once we get to that 3% a week, then we're kind of stopping, and I assure you, your bankroll is going to go up. So 3% a week. Don't pull the money out, and just sit tight. We got a 6-year plan. We're already 1 year into it. We're ahead of schedule, so it's going to get interesting if we keep doing this and the bankroll gets bigger and bigger. It's going to present a whole new set of, I'll say, problems.
Yeah, solvable problems.
Yeah. If I was a motivational speaker, I would say challenges.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So, but I'm not a motivational speaker, so problems. Don't you guys can reach out to me if you want that spreadsheet that I showed earlier. Just DM me your email and I'll send it over to you. I think that's about it. We're still trying to figure out an exact time that we're going to do it every day. So I'm probably going to reach out to some of you and find out what works best, and then we want to get really consistent with that. So we just want to talk about our bankrolls. Kind of build a community here of everyone that's kind of working towards the same goal, and see if we can build each other up. So I think that's it for today. Steve, if you got anything else?
No, that's about it. That's all. I don't have too much else. So
all right, great stuff.
I'm looking forward to doing this though on a consistent basis. It should be fun, and like Andy said, we'll find a time that works for everybody, and we'll be hammering them out Monday through Friday.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to reach out. You can follow us on Twitter. We got our Twitter handles there. So good luck, everyone. Enjoy your Tuesday night, and we'll see everyone tomorrow.
Good luck, guys.